been a while.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, welcome to a little bonus episode of An Earful Podcast. I've never introduced it as that before, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, we're just doing a bonus episode, chatting about some of all the new kind of cool horror stuff coming out. Basically just an excuse for me to come and chat to you guys about all this stuff because none of my friends give a shit.
Wait, where are your friends,
yeah.
Ryan? What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, you are my friends,
There we go.
but we're at the moment we're only internet friends, but in a month's
true, yeah.
time we are having the emotional, joyous
The
meetup.
official, yeah.
Are we the podcast version of online dating?
I think so. I was like, oh, I want to find some handsome boys that love horror, and then someone was like, Ash was like, oh, come listen to me chat to these guys, and then that's how it happened. So yeah, fuck Tinder, just get on a podcast.
Fuck Tinder, listen to podcasts.
Dragon's Den pitching it.
Yeah, so we've pre-discussed the points we're going to talk about, so we'll go through them in order. So let's get the first one, which I think is one that we're all proper mad excited about. Scream 5 has wrapped. It's finished filming, but we don't know any details on it yet. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, it's important. It's finished post-production on it, and they've like, sort of shown little bits of like different photos. So you've seen the like, beginning titles, like you saw like a screen cap of that, where it's just titled Scream.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is that the title's been revealed.
Yeah, and they've gone for like the newer font with it with the Scream, and then they've also there's a photo released with the end credit bit where it just says end credits, I think, and they've gone for the original font with that as well. Only little things to pick up on.
Yeah.
That's all we've seen. But in regards to what's actually going to be there are two cool little things. And someone picked up actually where it tells you, like where the roll in the corner of the screen. It tells you how far you are into each scene, and I think it said something like 11 minutes in, and that was the first scene. So we're going to get a good 11-minute first cutscene.
Nice. Because those opening scenes are quite iconic with Scream, especially Scream 4.
Yeah.
Where it gets so meta, I don't even know, they need a new word for it, where it just keeps
That was
keeps
insane.
panning out.
That's the one where they're watching Stab.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always forget about number 4 for some reason.
Yeah, same. I was talking to my sister the other day and we were trying to remember who the killers were from each film. I always forget the killer of Scream 3.
It's her, isn't it like her...
Roman.
Yeah, Roman.
Yeah.
Her, lost brother. Is it brother?
Yeah, it was basically Maureen Prescott's like she had an affair with this chap, and then basically that was her son, but she sort of like abandoned him, so that's why he was the one who apparently set all the killings up. So there's a theory that he was the president in Scream 1, and he was the influence behind Billy Loomis and Stu actually going out and killing
Nice.
all those people.
Yeah, because they released the trilogy, and then 4 was a later on edition, wasn't it? And they were going to do a trilogy with number 4 and do 4 to 6, but I think it tanked a little number 4, and that just stopped.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like Scream 4, and it is a little bit forgettable, but I remember I rewatched them all last summer with some friends, and I was like, do you know what, Scream 4, when you watch it, going back, obviously now that, when Scream 4 came out, you've got the nostalgia of the trilogy, and it's the new one. And you're like, okay, the new one's never going to live up to the hype that we've built on the older one.
Yeah.
But then when I watched them then, so 10 years or whatever later, I was like, do you know what, Scream 4, I think it holds up. But I am glad they didn't carry on the trilogy there. I think it might have got a bit weak.
Yeah, it was probably a sensible thing to do.
Yeah. But so what do we think they're going to do with Scream 5?
I don't even want to say. I don't want to assume anything. Just go in blind, personally.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's the first one without Wes Craven, but
this is dedicated to him as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we've discussed it on here before when I've mentioned the new Nightmare theory. I think they could do that because then I don't know, because obviously it was called, the Elm Street New Nightmare was called Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And when the title came out just saying Scream rather than Scream 5, I was like, okay, it's got to be something a bit different. It's not going to be a reboot. They've already said as a sequel. So what could they do?
Well, it's like the Halloween approach, isn't it? Like the Halloween 2018 was just named Halloween, wasn't it? So
of all the Halloween sequels you could have brought up, I'm so thankful it was the 2018 one.
Yeah, but considering it's a continuation of the original, you know what I mean? You just named it Halloween. So maybe it could be like an extra meta thing, maybe in tribute to Wes Craven, like he did, like you said, with New Nightmare, because that was kind of where he started going a quite meta with everything. Obviously, Scream was after New Nightmare, wasn't it? So
yeah,
that's sort
New
of
Nightmare was Wes Craven playing around with this. So when he went to do Scream, it sort of reinvented it all for us.
Yeah. So
I really hope they don't do Cindy's got a daughter at school and then a killer. If they do that, I'll claim I'll walk out the cinema. I absolutely won't. I'll stay and watch all of it, but I'll be like, for fuck's sake.
So I've seen that apparently in Scream 5 that Selena Gomez is in it. So I'm going to make the assumption that that's going to be the first kill.
Yeah, because they sometimes give they'll cast a big person to kill him off straight away, so that could make sense. But then she does have that kind of characteristic that you could see her being a main character in it, obviously on sideline to the existing cast.
She's
kind of like how they had Emma Roberts
Scream.
in Scream 4.
Yeah.
And Hayden Panettiere, I can never pronounce her last name, but she was quite big at the time that came out.
And what do you think killer-wise? Do you think they're going to go for one killer like they did with Roman, or do you think they're going to go for two killers like they have in the rest of the movies?
Or 5.
Oh, yeah, or just fucking go all out and just,
You've got to do the classic two killers, I think.
You think?
Yeah, but it's how this works in the story, doesn't it? That's the most important thing. As long as the story's believable, not cheap. Oh, my daughter's going to school.
Yeah.
I hope nothing doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Saying that though, Lon, when you just said about the 5 killers thing, it just gave me an instant idea, because obviously this title doesn't have the 5 in it. People are like, where's the 5? It's Scream 5. There's the 5 killers. I should just go write the film.
So there's the thing as well where the partner from Scream 4, Joe, who was the cop buddy to Dewey.
The woman.
Yeah. So she, a couple of months back, she posted something about filming Scream 5 and tagged Skeet Ulrich in it.
Yeah. Which could have been her taking the piss, but then again, it could have been a mistake because apparently it got deleted straight after. But everyone obviously Scream capped it before that. So I don't know if she was just trolling people or...
I never believe when it's someone was accidentally posted. I reckon it's posted because I knew people would find it and then make theories. The same with this whole like the Spider-Man thing with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in it, and Tom Holland always slipping up or whatever. It's no, people they want him to slip up to get people talking.
Yeah.
But then if he is in it, that would probably back up the New Nightmare theory, because how else was he going to be in it?
Unless they do flashbacks.
Yeah.
It could be a possibility, but yeah, it would be. I don't know. I mean, there was the whole thing with the other Screams. I know with Scream 2 and Scream 3, apparently there were so many script changes because they didn't want it to get leaked on the internet, because I think it was Scream 2 script that got leaked, and they had to just change everything. And they did that ever since. I think they did it with Scream 3 and Scream 4. They just had to keep changing the scripts, just so nothing ever got leaked and the endings didn't get spoiled, because that's the best thing about the Scream movies, isn't it? Finding out who the killer is at the end.
Yeah. It's it's this little mystery on the way. Yeah. Adult Scooby-Doo. Imagine if that whole change in the script thing. Imagine if they the reason maybe Skeet was on set and they filmed scenes that they never planned to use just to even fuck with the actors, because they'll be and then
you don't know the story.
Yeah, I'd be gutted if I was an actor in a film. I mean, I wouldn't, because I'd be rich, but I'd want to see the films. I'll be on set no, don't tell me who the killer is.
But you're in the final scene. La, 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 la.
But you are the killer. No.
Fuck.
I don't want to know.
So I was just looking on IMDb about Scream 5, or just Scream as we should put it. And this is just to get Matty riled up. But Spyglass Media Group have the rights for the original Funworld mask.
Spyglass?
Yeah, so one of the companies involved in the production have got rights to the original Funworld one.
Right, yeah. Well, basically, what happened was I know we've you're gonna get me started now, lad. What have we done this for?
Should we sit back?
Yeah.
There was an interview with I think it was the director, or one of the producers. Anyway, and they were doing the Scream reunion, and he showed the original mask on that and teasing loads of different things. But Fun World have actually sent like a load of masks to the set, and they've gone back to the original one. So when they started releasing all these newer plastic ones in the shops, and people were complaining about it, like people who collect them, and they've gone back and actually made the original like sort of things like PVC, like like sort of the rubbery ones, and they're releasing 25th anniversary masks coming up in September for Scream, like 25th anniversary like Scream masks. I think that's what it is, or Ghostface in general. And they were showing you the ones they actually sent to set. So they have gone back to using them ones. But I'm hoping to see maybe an original like mask, that they use, because he still has it. Oh, it's Kevin Williamson, I think it is. He still has like one of those Gen 1 masks. So hopefully, you never know, you might see that in it, but it'd be pretty cool.
I knew that.
Just to pay homage. That's going proper deep nerd into it, yeah. But, yeah.
Well, if we've got to listen to it on our random chats, our listeners have to.
Well, when near the time when we're like kind of building up to Scream, we'll just get you to like showcase your masks and stuff off, because I still don't know the difference between the masks from the first and the second, but you have explained it to me before. Yeah. And I've been like, oh yeah. And then I forget.
Yeah, dude, my mind was blown when I first found out. And then when you actually go back and watch the movies, you spot them. It's like a whole different experience. Like you spot the different ones. But yeah.
I think, do you remember that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns, what are you doing? Mr. Burns sings See My Vest. That's him, but with Max.
Yeah.
That's going to be the next skit we're going to
do. But yeah, no, it would be cool. It would even be cool to just see maybe a cameo, sort of like what Matthew Lillard did in Scream. Was it Scream
3? Was it
Scream 2? Scream 2, it was, wasn't it?
Was it?
Wait, what? Matthew Lillard's in Scream 2?
Yeah, he's in the background at one of the party scene. He's in the background of it.
No, I think you've told me that before. When like you hear something and then you forget, so then you hear it again and you're just as excited as you were the first time, but then you're like, no, I definitely knew that before.
So I hope, you never know, that could be a thing. Just there's all sorts that could happen. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, you didn't see him die. So
how do we feel about just the fact that, I know it's not a remake, it's a sequel, but we're getting additions to franchises rather than new originals. I know there's new originals out, and we've all been
in terms of like, so like obviously this is a sequel, like we're not like.
I just mean in general for like horror, getting hyped about a new Scream film, which could potentially be a letdown. I'm sure it won't be, because you've got people who are involved in the original involved in this one.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like when people have that argument of like, oh, all it is sequels and reboots, you're talking mainstream cinema.
True.
If you look everywhere else, there's so many original films. I log everything on Letterboxd, and I've seen so many like new films. This like weekly, I'll find a new film that's like just come out maybe on streaming platforms, or like, there's plenty of stuff about. So it's almost like this is the summer blockbuster type stuff for us to get excited about. I don't give a fuck about Fast and the Furious and Avengers, but the Halloween franchise and the Scream franchise, those are our big blockbuster movies that like they're not going to be like groundbreaking fucking. I love like Midsummer as an example. Like we've said this before, like films that they're not going for that style. They're just fun fucking sick horrors, and that's they're made for us.
Well, that's it. Like the best thing about them is, especially with the new Halloween as well, like they do it for the fans just as much as they do it, obviously, to make the money. Because let's face it, obviously, you see a lot of people go watching them because of what the film is, because there's such big films. People who don't even give a shit about them will just go watch it because it's like a known horror movie. So it provides that sort of like that service to them. Do you know what I mean, of the horror movie? But then it also sort of like it like gives us what we want as well as the fans who look at the little like nitty gritty bits of it and pick out pick different things out and actually like sort of enjoy it because of that. So I think that's the best thing about it. But yeah, remakes
also
and stuff just go a bit too far sometimes.
Yeah. Also, it's been so long now that it's even fans of the original films that are involved in making them.
Yeah.
You know, like Danny McBride with Halloween.
All right,
The guys.
Point. All right.
I don't know. I don't know what their names are doing Scream 2022. I'll pull it up. But it's the guys that made Ready or Not, which was fucking sick.
I know who Matty mentioned earlier, Kevin Williamson. He was a writer on the original and is a writer involved on this as well.
I was just looking at the cast. There's loads of people in it I didn't know. Jack Quaid from The Boys, so Huey.
Yeah.
Good. The dude from 13 Reasons Why. Don't really like him. He's a bit boring, but whatever. Who else have we got? I don't really know many others.
Question is, are they going to kill off Dewey or a main cast member such as...
Oh, I reckon so.
Yeah, one of the original cast. Like, do you reckon they're going to kill one of them off? It has to happen, doesn't it?
How wild would it be if they killed off Sydney in the first scene?
Well, like Halloween Resurrection style.
Yeah.
Like killing off Laurie Strode in the first.
I'll do an Alien 3 and kill the entire main original cast, and then it's a complete rewipe of it.
I just hope we don't guess what it is. Like, all these theories, I'm like, oh, this would be cool, this would be cool. But I know if that's actually it, I'll be like, oh, well, that was disappointing because, like, we thought of it. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on Scream. If we want to move on to the next,
I've got one thing. What will, like? How would you rate the movies? Then the Scream movies, each one of you.
Oh, what, ranking them?
Yeah.
I always struggle with 1 and 2 because I fucking love 2, but I wouldn't love 2 if it wasn't for the first one. So it's hard to not put the first one at the top.
Yeah.
So it's first one, very close second, number 2. I really like Scream 2. And then 3, 4. I think they just slowly get a bit worse, but I still like them all.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I'm just checking the letterbox now to see if I've like what I've actually ranked them because I know I watched them recently.
See, I'm different. I'm 1, 3, 2, 4.
That's interesting. You don't normally get a lot of people that have that much love for 3.
What was that? Sorry.
You don't get a lot of people that like really like number 3. That's usually like kind of a.
You don't. I do like the Roman Bridger storyline though, and the ending to it, like
and
that end scene
in Halloween H2O.
H2O, yeah, it's fucking mental. But yeah,
I think 3's up there actually.
Just for that end scene more, but I think the beginning scene to Scream 2 is like probably one of the best opening scenes. Obviously, apart from Scream 1, because obviously that's iconic. But that whole cinema like sequence is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, that became a main scene in Scary Movie. So like when they're spoofing the whole franchise and they targeted that one bit, and it's fucking brilliant.
Scary Movie ruined so many horrors for us.
I know, because I didn't watch The Exorcist until last year, and it was like I felt like I'd already seen it, like for a comedic take.
Yeah,
but, still good.
James Woods.
Yeah. Shit. But yeah, Scream 2022 is coming out 14th of January 2022. Buzzing.
Exciting, yeah.
2 days on my birthday, that as well.
Well, hey. So next on the list, Netflix have been putting out this trilogy, Fear Street. I've seen a little bit of the first one, nothing else. Pearson, you've seen them both.
I'm up to date, yep.
Remind me.
I've seen none.
So we've all got a bit of a different experience of it. Pearson, seeing as you've seen them both, do you want to tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, so if you don't know about it, Fear Street was written by R.L. Stine. Fun thing about that is that's the guy that did Goosebumps and scared us all as kids.
I didn't know that.
Fun fact. The story. Should I go into the story without giving spoilers?
Are we giving spoilers? Or are we doing it spoiler free?
Spoiler free, because
I mean, surely
probably read it. But
surely, like the plot would be like in a trailer or something. I mean, you can tell us what the gist is without being like, this person dies.
Yeah, no. You can tell I'm not good at doing like spoiler-free versions. I've just had to ask you for advice.
What about the issue with the bonus episode that will never be released?
Yeah.
With its spiral review, we're like,
we can't do this. Can we just go to spoilers? So yeah, it's about a town called Shadyside, and basically it's notorious for people having shitty lives there, and nothing ever really works out for them. So the first one takes place in 1994, and you basically, what you find unfolding is years ago there was a witch who cursed the town, and before she died, she chopped off a hand and left her grip on the town, as they call it. And there's like a cool nursery rhyme and stuff to freak people out. So they say in the first one, a friend gets in a car accident and accidentally is leaking blood all over the witch's unmarked grave. So now the witch is after this person and the friend group. So that's the first one. But I want to talk to Ryan now because you stopped halfway through. Am I right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't sober when I was watching it.
Okay.
Completely. So I was watching it. I was a bit like the opening scene was cool as fuck because it like obviously plays what's the word? Homage? That sounds like posh. Homage to Scream. And I was like, so I was just noticing that, like, this is cool. And what's it? Maya Hawke as well, Uma Thurman's daughter, who's in Stranger Things. Like, she's cool. I like that she's being cast in more and kind of coming up on her own.
I didn't realize that's who he was.
Yeah. It was all lit really cool. Like, it's, visually looked kind of Stranger Things-y,
Yeah, it did.
But then it just got a bit too like Riverdale. Like, I don't know if to me, I mean, now that you say that R.L. Stine wrote it, who obviously wrote Goosebumps, it kind of makes sense. And maybe it's kind of supposed to be on a similar length to, did you ever see, it came out a couple of years ago, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
I did, yeah.
I liked that, but it's because I
too.
knew it was only 12 rated. It wasn't going to be bloody and gory, and it was based off a kid's book. But they did a fucking good job of it, I thought. So maybe I went in with the wrong frame of mind, and if I try, I will try it again because I want to watch the full trilogy because I've heard it's getting better as well.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your take on it, but I'm looking at I've got IMDb in front of me with Fear Street Part 1, and as soon as you said it's very Riverdale, I'm looking at the poster and it screams Riverdale.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's also cool is when the witch comes after you, she's not just sending herself. She has multiple killers that have previously struck the Shadyside town and come after you. So you get to me, this is a horror fan's horror trilogy. There's the soundtrack's fantastic, 90s, so it's full of grunge and then jump into the next one, which I've seen. Is it 78 or is it 74?
70 something, yeah.
78. So 78 takes part in a camp. So guess what we're referencing here, friends?
Friday the 13th.
Absolutely. And yet the one of the killers has a sack over his head, just like the town that dreaded sundown and Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
And again, soundtrack, all 70s. So it's great to the era. It's referencing your favorite horror films. And I'd say the second one is better because it takes a deep dive into a previous. It's weird because I say the second one, you'd assume sequel, but it's going back in time. But overall, you've got this overarching story going on from the first one. So it's kind of interesting because you go, 1994. Oh shit! Tell us a story about what happened in 78. Back to 1994. So it's playing a good timeline, really, and trying to figure out how to stop the witch's curse. And then the third one is 1666, and that is when the witch was, put the curse on the town and accused.
So you're going to get the origin at the end.
Yeah, but without spoiling it, because at the end of each part, you get a preview of what's to come. So that comes out tomorrow. Very excited. We've got every Friday. Me and a couple mates have been doing pizza and alcohol and premiering Fear Street,
cool.
which has been pretty fun. But this one, there's a bit of a twist on the origin. I'm not going to say any more than that, but definitely I'm into it. I'm really into it. Got me excited about horror.
Yeah, I saw like a horror blogger posting about it the other day, and they were really hyping up the third one, saying it's like better than the previous two. Because when I watched the trailer for all of it, I remember thinking that looked like the weakest bit to me. I was like, this looks all right, but I don't think the third one looks very good at all. But I don't know. I guess, and with you saying there's like kind of a twist to it, I'm guessing it's going to be, not what you kind of expect from it. So
yeah, it's definitely different. And 1666, so like they're very focusing on the years there, and they get it perfect from what I've seen so far. So you get like a weird like occult, like The Witch kind of vibe, obviously given the time. But yeah,
wasn't that the Salem witch trials 1666?
I have no idea, mate. You'll know more than me.
Right about them.
What did you think of it anyway, Matty? Because you've seen the first one.
The first one's like really good. And obviously, again, without giving much spoilers, that opening scene was very Scream. The whole phone call and all that sort of stuff. Like that, as you said, Pearson, like a lot of it's like paying homage to like a lot of horror movies, which again is good for like die-hard horror movie fans because you're spotting these things as you're watching it. And the characters, the characters in it are strong, and that the killers themselves as well, like I said. So to me, the guy with the sack on his head, fucking hell, that was freaky as fuck. I wouldn't want him running towards me with that axe.
You got to watch the second one.
Yeah, well, he's in it as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in that one. But yeah, when it shows you the preview for the second one, there's like a little kid or something like that in like a mask, and he's like bludgeoning someone with a fucking bat, and I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I think we'll see that on the third one. That kid's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
googled
looking
it.
forward to watching this now.
Yeah.
The Salem witch trials was 1692 to 93.
Right.
So
close.
we're talking about an OG witch, 30 years before that shit.
Yeah. Before witches were cool.
Yeah.
And apparently the second one is filmed on like sort of like a camp place.
Yeah, Camp Nightwing, I think it's called.
Yeah, and that's where they filmed one of the Friday the 13th films as well.
Yeah,
same
like
campsite.
Again, the casting is perfect. Like, there's not like when you get like the one actor, you're like, ooh, this is a reach or a bit hard to believe in now.
Yeah.
The whole casting's solid. A guy popped up in the second one who I'm gonna get his name wrong, or I can't find him on IMDb. Drew Schkeed, who is in Halloween 2018, makes the moves on. He plays Oscar.
Ah, right.
Who makes the moves on Allison, says the girl's got him all chubbed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in it, which was cool to see.
But yeah, I went into this at first like kind of skeptical because like I watched Riverdale and I can't remember how many seasons in, and then it started getting all fucking singing and dancing and all that, and I was like, right, I'm done with that. Put that to one side. And then I was put off the Scream TV series for a while because it was very like American, like just American college like sort of vibes. You know what I mean? It's just a bit MTV cheesy sort of thing. Obviously, I rewatched the Scream TV series and I loved it like the second time around without that sort of like preconception about it. But I sort of went into this a bit half-half of whether I would like it or not, and then it actually like surpassed my expectations. So I'm kind of glad I went in with low expectations. And I was surprised when I came out, especially with some of the gore in it as well. I didn't expect them to go that far with it. Yeah, because there's one kill in it, like right at the end, which I won't spoil. But it's Jesus Christ, I did not expect that to happen.
Well, that was the problem with Sabrina, wasn't it? I know not you lot have seen it, but like the Netflix version of Sabrina, because it was done by the same people that did Riverdale, it had this really melancholic vibe.
Yeah.
That looked awesome. Cinematography was amazing on it, but it was just too cheesy.
Just too MTV,
so
isn't it?
So like it latches onto like the Riverdale fans, but
Well, it was the same makers who did that, but it was like they brought them elements over to kind of, and it kind of tainted it. It just ruined the vibe of it.
Maybe, right? So I remember having this kind of debate when it comes to music, where like back in the day, for example, Busted, people would be like, oh, Busted are shit, you know, they're not real rock. But for me, because I was so young, that's what I liked. It got me into rock.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of a similar thing with horror, where like these kind of films and shows like Sabrina and this Fear Street trilogy, you know, maybe they're made more for people that wouldn't normally go for horror, but kind of see the style, see the, you know, oh, like, did you say Sabrina was made by the same people as Riverdale?
Yeah, so apparently it was meant to be sitting in within the same universe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I read about that. Okay, so let's just say, not to stereotype, although I'm going to completely stereotype, like Riverdale fans, I'm imagining they're probably young teens, mostly maybe female, but I do know some guys that watch it and some older people that watch it. But yeah, maybe it's the sort of thing to try and pull that kind of category of people into horror.
Into it. Yeah, it's like sort of a it's like a portal into it. It's like a gateway into horror, but like it's like I was watching Goosebumps when we were younger. That's like, again, going back to that. That's like that was my gateway into horror until my mum slapped on Halloween. But yeah. And also, before we forget to say it, Marco Beltrami scored this. The guy who did the Scream, like all the whole Scream trilogy, which, when you listen to that as well, you can tell it's got that sort of vibe to it.
But also, whoever's the music supervisor is getting like the period bang on for like where you want to hear. You know how like Guardians of the Galaxy was so good because the soundtrack, very similar feeling I have towards this. But I'm trying not to hype it up too much because anyone listening will be like, "Oh, I got to put it on. It's not as good as he said."
Each to their own, though, isn't it?
True.
Which I suppose brings us on to the next one. If we're finished on Fear Street, so you have convinced me I'm going to watch it. I probably wouldn't have.
So we've not said, but we're going to do these regularly. These like horror roundups where we just get to sit, chat a bit of bullshit, and it's not as interviewee and just talk about horror. So when you do, let us know on this so we can. I'm sure like after tomorrow. I will be screaming to talk about it. Because we can go into spoilers after that, I suppose.
Yeah. Once it's been... Cause I know a few people that are covering it on different podcasts, like mostly spoiler-free at the moment. So, by the time we do the next kind of news roundup, it'll be like, you know, free for all spoilers. Yeah. So what we like. Obviously everyone's, it's got different opinions, this one, which brings me on to the next one. I think out of us, I'm the only one that's checked this one out, but Netflix have dropped another new horror this week, a classic horror story, which is an Italian horror. I didn't know anything about it going in. I didn't even know it was Italian. I sat down to watch it with my food. And normally if I'm watching a subtitled film, I've got to be like focused.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, I better finish my food.
I don't even want to focus on food.
Chuck my phone to the other side of the room and then like sat down and probably watched it. And I avoided any reviews, so I wanted to go in completely blind. So I'm going to give a quick kind of spoiler-free. It's going to be hard to be spoiler-free.
Okay.
But I will do it. I've been thinking about this all day. So, like, hang on. I made notes. Let me see if I can go back to my notes. So, like, what we're saying about, like, Sabrina and Riverdale and Fear Street, like, how it visually looks really cinematic. I got a similar kind of vibe from this, where, like, you could tell they put a lot of effort into the look of the film.
The artwork alone.
Yeah, and the artwork's sick.
But yeah.
But it starts off story-wise very, very cliche. Again, when we talk about this in a month's time, I'll be able to. I'll want to shout about it because I was even thinking today. There's so many references to other films, which are at times so subtle I didn't even realize. And then thinking back, I'm like, oh shit, that was that. But it all kind of comes together nicely. I've completely lost my train of thought because I'm trying not to spoil it. But so when I read reviews after, a lot of people kept comparing it to Midsummer. They were like, I saw a review on Letterboxd. It was like someone knocking on the door going like, "Hi, Midsummer, it's Italy. Like, we're going to copy you," or something like that. Story-wise, it's fucking nothing like it, other than it's got that kind of bright feel to it at times.
So as you said that, there's a slideshow on IMDb playing And I'm guessing it's just for that one scene alone that they're saying it's copied
yeah.
Summer. Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense at the end when you get to about it's almost like a film of 3 acts, right? So the first third is kind of build up, suspense. You don't know what's going on. Is a bit cheesy. Like I probably wasn't as into it in the first third. Then you start to get a bit more gruesome stuff starts happening, a bit more kind of character development, and a few things get revealed. And then the final act, it kind of then is one of those films where, like, if you turn it off halfway, I mean, obviously you're not going to get the whole thing, but like it'll be a completely different film by the end. It proper flip turns around, and I'm really struggling not to spoil it, but I really liked it. But yeah, I looked at reviews afterwards, and it's getting slated online. But a couple of my friends also watched it yesterday, and they've replied on my Instagram like, "I fucking loved it." So yeah, I'd recommend. I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd.
Nice. What did you say, Matty, then?
What's the premise of the story? Like, what's the synopsis there?
So there's a group of people traveling across the country in Europe. There's like an American girl with her boyfriend who they mentioned is from Bristol, which I was like, well, hey. It was fucking weird because she's American. And she's like,
that instantly earned a star for Ryan on Letterboxd.
Yeah. It was like on the Simpsons movie when the TV says Springfield, the girl's like, woohoo! Hey. So they're traveling across like the country. I don't know why they're going in an RV and not flying. Oh shit, I need to get my charger. Anyways, loads of strangers in an RV traveling across the country. American girl with her boyfriend, a woman who's going to see like a doctor because she's having an abortion. There's a doctor on the RV as well, and then like a random dude who's driving them. But that he swerves to avoid something in the road. I think it's a deer or something, and crashes. Typical kind of horror trope, oh no, now they're lost in the woods. But then they kind of wake up and they're not by the road. Like literally the RV is kind of in this circle surrounded by trees. And it's just a bit of a mystery because then it's like, where the fuck are they? How do they get there? And then there starts to be more characters coming into it. There's stuff going on in the woods that comes near them. They find a random house. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Without anything after that, I would start going into spoilers, but that is basically the premise.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list to watch it. I think I saw the artwork because of you on Letterboxd. Yeah. One of the best people to follow on Letterboxd, by the way. Because it's just like, oh, that's new. List,
I wish I was more consistent on there. Like, I've not been on in a while, but I really need to get back on.
I avoided it for so long, and now I've got an OCD with it that, like, I can't see a film without writing something down. But yeah, it becomes a bit of a chore. But I'm just like, I want to do the year so I can look back and see everything I've done in a year.
I remember I had a point where, like, the reason I got Letterboxd is like when we're having a conversation, I want to go, oh, me and Jess watched a film the other night. What was it? Let me check.
Yeah.
But then I got to a point where I was like, Jess, do you want to watch any film just so I can add it to my Letterboxd so I've watched something consistently this month? That was bad. But do it, mate.
I'm just going to grab my charger because I didn't realize my thing was dying. 2 seconds.
I need a wee anyway, so we'll cut here. A little small edit.
So next on our list of news topics to discuss, you guys have scored a short film. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Flickr. 5 minutes short.
What's so funny?
Which is quite short, in it, but yeah.
It's just the way my
yeah.
Flickr.
As those of you don't know that it's called Flickr,
it could be
Flickr. Weird. The short is called Flickr.
Yeah, by Greyhound Pictures. It came about through Discord, actually. I'm in a Discord group, and someone just said they were looking for a composer for a short horror. I've previously done like scoring for films and stuff and shorts, but I had like a bad experience last time, so that swore me off. But because this was horror, I was like, "Fuck it, let's go for it." Yeah, me and Matty have been making horror just randomly when we've been jamming. So we thought, why not give it a go?
Just jump to the opportunity,
Yeah.
So what instruments do you like use to? Like, I've got no idea about scoring a.
So the triangle features heavily within this soundtrack. No, it's just very synth based in it. So we went in like with a very like 80s synth like sort of vibe. So classic John Carpenter, like listen to a lot of that. Well, we'll listen to a lot of it anyway. And I've always wanted to do something like that for a while. And then fucking Pearson's just got fucking synths all over the place in his gaff. So
I can see 3 from here.
So as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, right, let's fucking go. And yeah, it's very like you can hear a lot of like John Carpenter influence in it, and a lot of like Carl and what was it? Why have I forgot the names?
Michael Dixon.
Yeah, Carl and Michael Dixon.
No, Michael Stein and Kyle Dixon. Apologies,
yeah,
regular listeners. So
fuck.
That's the composer of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily, so there's 2 directors who were on it, Andre and Nolan. They were going for a Stranger Things kind of style because that's whose Discord group it is one of the composers. So he had like a bunch of people ask like, oh, I'll do it. So there was a very slim chance me and Matty were going to get the opportunity, but we just sent him some stuff we made, and luckily enough, he liked it enough to be like, yeah. How long did it take us, Matty?
Probably took us about, would you say maybe like 2 or 3 months, if that?
Yeah.
If you count the actual time we spent on it, it probably took us about 5 days or something like that to put together for 5 minutes.
So what's the process? Like, would you have watched the short without music and thought to yourselves, what can go here? Or did you send a piece of music in already and he was like, work around that? So
we sent a piece of music in to pitch to get the opportunity to compose for it. And then from there, he said, I'll send you a scene of the short. Can you do something to it? So I think me and Matty did like 3 takes on a minute.
He only asked us for 1 and we sent him like 3.
Sent him like 3. Just like kill him with options. So we did that and he was like, yeah, right. Gig's definitely yours. So then he just sends the whole, I think it's like 6-minute file. So we use a digital audio workstation, chuck that in, and honestly just started anywhere we felt comfortable. So for us, it was the bit where you actually are confronted with the monster, because that's going to be the scariest bit. So we built that up first, and then just worked backwards and filled.
Well, it came around to where we ended up doing like like you said, we worked for like the monster bit, and then we started writing a track, and it ended up being like the main theme for it. And we only realised that obviously like halfway through, it was like, fuck, this should be like probably the main theme that they use out at the beginning or the end, and just sort of like keep that repeating. Like it is little, you know, like the little motif that we use in it, like keep that like sort of subtle and just popping up throughout. And we sent that over, and they were fucking buzzing with that. So they was like, yeah.
So that got put in the credits, because funnily enough, shorts don't really have a main theme, because there's not chance for a moment to be a main theme.
No.
But I love shorts. Like, I know Lights Out is probably one of my favorite shorts on YouTube, which then got made into a full film. The film I don't rate, but the short film was good. Like, I know me and Jess have fallen down rabbit holes of just short horrors on YouTube.
There's loads of it. That's the best thing about it. They're all over the place, and like a lot of it, like it's crazy because like you go in and you think, sure, like you don't really expect much from it, but like you come out and you're like, fucking hell, like they're really good concepts, and you're surprised that half of them don't even get picked up. But it's a good way to sort of showcase like the like sort of abilities of all the people involved in it. You know what I mean? The directors, the writers, the actors, the composers, everything. So yeah.
I just googled Lights Out. I rarely get scared of stuff, but there's an image in that. If you watch this back and see my reaction, I was looking at my phone. I was like, oh, fucking horrible.
Yeah, that Lights Out shot is horrid.
I've never seen. I've definitely heard of it. I don't know. I watched a good short recently, which is based off of Animal Crossing.
Oh god.
You guys heard of that one?
No.
I'll try and find it and link it to you. But it was quite recent. But yeah, it's fucking. I find shorts scarier than most horrors that I watch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's all about the timing, isn't it? So the anticipation's up even more because you know you've not got long and you're good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what more we could say about. Oh,
Well, where can people watch it?
YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll probably link to it down below. Actually, that'll be a nice thing to do.
Cool.
And another thing is it's going to be on Amazon Prime soon as well.
Oh wow.
So we'll update the link. And that theme me and Matty were talking about, we've actually scheduled to be released on streaming services because we got the opportunity there. We may as well do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Funnily enough, that'll be out Friday the 13th next month.
Hey.
Perfect date that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I need to check it out. Bad friend over here hasn't seen it yet.
No.
Cool. Yeah. So link will be below to
Down
check
below,
out
yeah.
Flickr. Lun, you came in today with something you want to tell us about. Exorcism reboot.
Yeah, so the news has come out that obviously we already knew there was going to be an Exorcist reboot, which is now in the works, but there's no more details. That it's very much loosely on the concepts as what Halloween 2018 was. So it's like an aftermath of, rather than like just a completely different reboot.
Okay.
Well,
Right back to the conversation earlier.
Yeah. I've just seen the director for it has been cast.
All right, and what's the director for it?
David Gordon Green.
Oh.
So if you don't know, he worked on the 2018 Halloween film.
Who's producing it? What company's doing it then? Does it say?
Let me have a look for you.
Blumhouse.
I've just googled David Gordon Green because I didn't know his name, like who he was. And it's when like it does people also search for, and it's like the next trending people. So below is Danny McBride, obviously linked to Halloween, Andy Matichak, which is the young girl in the Halloween, and then the first one linked to this guy is Jonah Hill. So I don't know if it's come out or whatever that Jonah Hill is involved in this Exorcism reboot. But how fucking perfect would that be? Because of the scene from This Is the End.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
perfect.
So oh my god!
The power of Christ compels you. Oh, does it?
If that doesn't happen,
does it really compel me?
Guess what? It's not that compelling.
Oh my god!
Brilliant. I need to find out later why Jonah Hill's linked with this guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to like dig through the IMDb and see if like Jonah Hill's popped up in anything, but
that would be good to see sort of Linda Blair come back for that.
think Linda Blair would come back.
Yeah, well, if he's doing it as a continuation on from it, you never know. Like it might go to where like they go to her character and like she sort of explains the events of what's happening, or sort of like they went back to Laurie Strode and she's like traumatized years later.
Yeah,
I imagine they'd have to pay her a shitload of money to do it, because wasn't she like? I mean, I've not seen Leap of Faith or any of the other documentaries, but I want to. Didn't Linda Blair have just like the worst experience?
Through literal hell.
I've heard about the scene with Sorry.
Didn't she break her back on set?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's a scene where where she's like going up and down in the bed.
Yeah.
It was something was broken on it or something, and like it was actually like, so I think there's a bit where she screams William, and they left it in the film. William's the director's name. She's calling for like actual help, and they left that in the scene.
That is a rule in cinema. If I don't think it is anymore, but if a stunt coordinator or a stunt person gets injured, but the take is still good, it was like a homage to your injury. It goes in the film, and I think what that was a wire pull on Linda Blair, and they're just going for it, and it's just fucking her up. And I think they mentioned
good job they didn't do that with Twilight Zone.
Let's not talk about that film.
No.
They mentioned that on Cursed Films, funnily enough, Matty bringing up Twilight Zone. There's an Exorcist episode worth a watch. We're going back to this Exorcist sequel now that we know it's a sequel. The poster looks fucking horrifying. And I know it's only drawn, but, you know, can you even... Nope. Big nope. I'll send that in the group.
Is that like a legit promo image?
You're going to have to pull out closer.
It's the cover for the IMDb.
Oh, that's so grim.
What's at the top of the stairs?
She's like, she's like on a, you know, when she's done the
upside
crab.
down. Yeah.
That looks cool.
Well, so the last sighting of what there was for like the Exorcist franchise was the TV series that did 2 runs, and I can't say I've watched it, but that was apparently the closest thing that's kind of kept faithful to the original film.
So, can I ask a question? I've only ever seen the first Exorcist. I've never seen the sequels. So, what do the sequels go into? Is that a continuation, or is that?
So, number 2, The Heretic, is where it's like a continuation from the first one, but it was the issue where people signed on to it before the original premise, and then because it was so rewritten that it completely ruined what the original concept was. So the final product that came out was nothing like what the original pitch was.
Okay.
So that's what was essentially ruined.
And now I only know number 3 because of the nurse scene that we always joke about.
Yeah. To be fair, there's a lot of people rate number 3 over number 2, don't they? Like with The Exorcist. I think that is creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I've just pulled it up on my phone as well. I was looking at it whilst you guys were chatting. I was like, ugh.
That's the original face, I think. That's the Linda Blair mask.
Oh, yeah, somebody's like,
is that
Photoshops.
drawn, though, that image? Because if you look, like, zoom in on the
I think it's Photoshop, you know.
Yeah, it looks Photoshop, that.
Either way,
it's creepy as fuck.
Because what they could do is they could go to that statue that's in New York, take a picture of it, because that's the original sculpting of Linda Blair. It looks the exact same as it did in the 70s. It's horrific.
They could take a mold off it and use the actual mold of the head and recreate it that way, but then...
He's getting his mask knowledge on now.
Yeah, here we go. Bloody hell.
Can we do the thing where you like for when this plays and people are watching, put the poster on the screen? Yeah, because we've all been looking at our phones now, and if anyone's watching on YouTube, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are they?"
Don't do extra Googling. We'll put it here.
Yeah. But yeah, it does look creepy. I've not seen any of the Exorcist sequels, so are they doing what Halloween 2018 did, where they kind of did you say they're wiping the sequels away and kind of being a straight up sequel to the first? Or
I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with it. Like, I think everyone's taken on the aspect of that 2018 Halloween did so well. If that concept works, let's just
do it for everything.
Yeah, apply
money.
The synopsis on IMDb does say a sequel to the 1973 film about a 12-year-old girl who's possessed. So I would assume it is The Exorcist and then the 2021 Exorcist.
It wouldn't surprise me if Blumhouse picked that up then like they did with Halloween. They'd be the ones more trusted with it, considering what they did with Halloween, like you said.
Yeah.
Also, if they're planning on releasing it next year, it really annoys me. Why can't they wait an extra year and then it'd be 50 years since the first one? If it came out in 73.
Oh, yeah.
There's a good point.
I'd rather wait another year just for my OCD of consistency.
Absolutely. The release date here says 2021, but it's still in pre-production, so that's going to get
it's not going to come out this year. I think
post-production takes a long time. It probably will be 23.
Yeah, IMDb it does say 2021. No chances it coming out this year.
No. If it's in pre-production, not at all.
Yeah.
I really hope they keep it faithful though to the original, like they actually do it justice, because I can't say any other possession film as such has been as impactful as that original one was. But I think it's very much a thing of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is a paranormal film in the 70s, which you didn't get. And culturally, this had such a huge impact on popular culture. Like, just think about the Scary Maze game. That alone I remember getting my mum with that, and she fucking hates that face. I don't.
We
think she's
also
ever,
got Ben of Lone Atlantis with that as well,
yeah.
so go check out that episode.
Yeah,
All that highlight.
That highlight.
that was funny. So yeah, like of course, like any possession films after it aren't gonna have as big. I'd say Poltergeist,
Yeah.
but you know, this is getting into just opinions now. It doesn't really matter about that.
I was just trying to remember Poltergeist. Then I watched it a couple of years ago.
I just always think about the hands on the static TV and they're here.
Yeah.
That fucking clown. Yeah. But does this wrap up our first horror roundup? Or have we got more?
Well,
One more.
we were going to talk about the Halloween trailer as well, because Halloween we're a few weeks late now. Like, it's been around, but we're all big Halloween fans. Yeah, the trailer. My first thoughts, it gives a bit too much away. So after I finished watching, I was a bit like, "Fuck, I wish I didn't see that." But it does look cool as fuck. It looks violent as hell. It looks like Michael's getting a bit more creative with his kills rather than just, using his knife. He's got a chainsaw. It's gonna be sick.
Fluorescent light bulb at one point.
Yeah. Shoves it into someone's fucking neck.
Yeah, but that, I completely agree with you, Ryan. We've seen a lot already in that, and that makes me worry that is that all the brutal bits you've just put in a trailer, and the rest of it is solely story.
Yeah, like exactly who he's gonna confront, like in this film. Like everyone's got their bit, in the trailer.
That was weird to see in the trailer. You can't really have spoilers for a trailer.
No, if
were Alison,
her boyfriend,
someone's got hold of the mask and is screaming at Michael. And like the whole town are coming after Michael. It's a weird point of view.
It's intense as fuck, though.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that.
Maybe they're giving so much away because, like, hopefully there is so much more in, like, maybe that is all like first half stuff, and then it's because obviously we got to remember they've planned this trilogy, so whatever's coming now needs to set up for a big fucking finale and Halloween Ends. So it could be that they've given quite a bit away now because that's going to be the first half of the film, and then something's going to fucking turn, and it's just going to, blow our minds and make us, want to watch the third one.
So excited.
I suppose it all depends on the runtime, doesn't it? And if you think about this, like, there's another film after this one, so
I know. Is the runtime? Have they even finished cutting it?
I don't think so, because I'm not seeing a runtime. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's expected in 3 months from now, on the 15th of October. So that is exactly 3 months
from today.
So the trailer gives, like I said, it does give a lot away, and he's not really a spoiler, but he sort of shows you how Michael kind of survives, and he kills the. Basically, it shows that he hides behind the doors. Where she kept all the guns down in the basement. You see them doors slide open. Mikey's inside. Kills the fucking fireman.
Well, the firemen help him out, don't they? Because they don't really know either. I do like that. I'm glad they kind of put that in the trailer, because otherwise people will be like, "What the fuck? I thought he died." Like, come on.
That's it. No one knows. Obviously, this is before the town goes fucking skits about it, and obviously they help him out, and then everything goes tits up. But the best thing about this trailer is, again, all the different homages to Halloween you see already. So you got the Halloween, you got the masks like you saw in the first one.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah. Can we talk about them brutally murdered on a merry-go-round? We've not really seen Michael kill children, because you got to that point where in 2018 Halloween, there's just that baby crying in its crib. Michael stands over it, and I remember that bit. The whole cinema just went silent, like, nah, surely not. But now he's like, oh, so there is a defying line, like, oh, you're over 5, I can kill you, come on.
So I've seen an opposing thing about that, where when they've zoomed in on the people that's killed on the with the masks up, it's the nurse costume from that woman that gets in the car when he's doing the one shot from the other film.
Wait, what?
Which film are you on about here? The first.
So 2018, he's doing the one shot and he's walking, and there's a couple that's leaving to get into their car. One has a nurse's outfit on, and there's another one. So it's rumored that it might be them that's on the.
Is that the long shot when he first gets back to Haddonfield and you kind of follow him around the garden and then into the woods? Oh, that bit was so cool.
See, that bit was in homage to like the Elrod killings in Halloween 2, and then now you've got homage to Halloween 2 again, because in the trailer you see the sort of like roles reversed. So as we saw it in Halloween 2018, roles reversed with like Laurie coming out of the darkness and fucking stabbing Michael, and Laurie falling off the balcony and disappearing. In this one, you've got a scene where they clearly end up in a hospital at some point. Obviously, Laurie ends up in the hospital, and then Michael must end up in the hospital at some point, because you see Laurie with a knife, with an intent to kill, walking down the corridor. I don't know how the fuck she's getting away with that, but she's walking down the corridor in what looks like a hospital on her way to kill Michael, which is roles reversed from what Halloween 2, like that came out in 81, was about. So I love all that sort of thing about it, but that's kind of like, it's kind of cool, and it's got me curious as to like what happens with that, because obviously if he escapes out the house in the beginning, how does he end up in hospital, and does she get to him?
Unless that's what the town are doing. That's what Karen is doing when she has his mask, luring him to the hospital for Laurie to kill him. Maybe, I don't know. It's speculation, obviously. I'm not involved in the film, unfortunately.
We're in for a treat, though.
One thing I did notice on the casting, Kyle Richards, who played Lindsay Wallace, is going to appear in this.
Yeah.
And there's a gentleman playing Tommy Doyle as well.
Ooh.
From the OG.
I'm looking forward to seeing those characters come back, and what sort of like, what they like, what role they play in it, and how that comes about.
It honestly could just be the town, because we've seen the town has a big involvement, but it'd be nice if they have an actual part of the plot.
In Halloween 2018, they did reference some of the older characters, like Lonnie, for example. So if you remember the little kid who bullies Tommy Doyle, and he also is the kid that walks up to the Myers house at the night in the night time when Thingy's going around there. My mind's gone fucking blank.
When Loomis is
there. My mind gone fucking blank. The Dr. Loomis is looking around town, and he sort of hides behind a bush because he sees the little lads going towards the Myers house, and he shouts, "Hey, Lonnie," to scare him, and they all run off. And then when they sat down on 2018, the Halloween 2018, and they're all having dinner in that restaurant, when Laurie comes bursting in, they mention Lonnie in that as well.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Doesn't Lonnie get mentioned before that when Alison is talking about her boyfriend?
Lonnie's his dad.
Yeah, he's like, I know Lonnie's dad. He's not the nicest guy, kind of thing. It's talking about that bullying to Tommy.
I love that sort of like little subtle hints back to it. So it's going to round off perfectly, I think, and I think we're definitely in for a treat. Even if they've given a lot away, there's a lot more that we've not seen. That I think will blow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although we're seeing these scenes, we're not seeing the build up to these scenes, and buzzing.
Do we think they're gonna leave Halloween Kills on a cliffhanger moment? I am guessing they have to, don't they?
Yeah, surely.
The ends.
Oh, sorry, I got confused then. Yeah, Halloween Kills. Yeah, because it feels like obviously this is a trilogy. What normally happens with a trilogy, you get the first one, and then 2 and 3. This happens quite a lot. Seem to be paired, don't they? Like, I know the whole thing's kind of, but the fact that they were going to release these a lot closer together, like it was meant to be Halloween Kills last year, and then immediately this year would have been Halloween Ends, but obviously we've got a year delay because of COVID, but they're being released quite close together. So I imagine there is going to be, it's almost like the Halloween Kills and Ends are going to be like a joint sequel to, I know that's, probably sound like an idiot because it's just how trilogies work, but I think there's going to be a cliffhanger, and then it's all got to wrap up in Ends.
But it all depends on the runtime as well, I suppose. I hope it doesn't fucking matter as long as it's good.
Yeah.
Ignore me,
Film is as long as it needs to be.
Yeah.
There was one more thing to mention, but it's more, to be honest, probably something we can talk about next time. But I noticed literally before we recorded that Sci-Fi are teasing the Chucky TV series. It looks like something's being announced tomorrow. Obviously, we already know the show's coming out. The cast is pretty much out there. It's going to have Devon Sawa from Final Destination, but also Jennifer Tilly and my mind's gone blank. The main dude who voiced Chucky. I'm probably gonna have horror fans fucking out of my throat for not knowing his name.
Brad Dourif.
Sorry, what was his name?
Brad Dourif.
Is that it?
Yeah, he's the guy who played the cop as well, Sheriff Brackett in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
It is.
Oh yeah, Brad Dourif. Yeah, that's it. So they're all like, so those two are back, and then Devon Sawa from Found Destination's in it. So could be cool. Maybe a trailer tomorrow, so we can talk about that next time.
Yeah, and that means there's going to be a next time, people.
Yeah, boy. I like these little news roundups.
Yeah, me too. Because considering we say we're a horror podcast, it's sporadic. Let's talk about horror. So this is
Well, whilst we've got people listening, should we plug our shows? So obviously we're all part of the. We're all here through An Earful Podcast. So, like, who have you guys had on recently? Have you got anything kind of that you can tell us coming up?
So we had just the most recent episodes just come out with All Ears of O, which is Jake and Claire. We talk all about like the singles, like just gig experiences during the pandemic, because they played a few shows during that experience.
Yeah, I still one of those.
The pet peeve is like,
it's pretty funny. But we also talk about
solid effort,
like playing shows, because we played a couple of shows with them. We got as well, and just that etiquette at shows as well between bands we got into, which was pretty good.
And like the power of like what a bad review can do to mentally to like artists and stuff like that, and the overall like power of streaming and playlist and stuff like that, whether it's like too much power in like Spotify's hands technically.
Yeah. Did they have were they horror fans?
We discussed The Exorcist, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we had a decent discussion on it.
I'm going to say this on here because we're not on like an official episode. I love it because you guys are northern as fuck. I love especially when you chat to Americans and you guys ask, what's your favorite scary movie? But London's when you say it, scary, and they're like, what? I think when you were talking about Josh Rubin's Scare Me was the best one, because it was like, I think you were telling, was it Soft Cult you were talking to about it, and you mentioned you're like, Scare Me, and they were like, what? What the fuck is
Scurvy?
Have you watched that film called Scurvy?
Scurvy?
Like saying Scurbies.
Scurbies.
Oh my god.
Cool.
So what about yourself, Ryan? How's Silver Screen Unseen going?
So at the time of recording this now, because we're doing this on a Thursday evening, I got the Nightcrawler episode dropping tomorrow. So that'll already be out by the time this is out.
Buzzing for that. That's a fucking great movie.
It was a good chat. I had Sky and Leanna from White Noise Podcast join me. They were really cool. Next week, I can tell what the next episode is going to be because I always reveal the next one. I'm recording with Katie from Just a Girl podcast to do Saint Maud, which was a horror film from last year. So I think technically my first horror film will be Saint Maud on the podcast, because I try not to just cover horror. We kind of go deep into other genres, but can't avoid horror too much. We do love it. So I try to go for the ones that have got a lot to say about it, like as much as I love Halloween, is very much a straightforward slasher.
Yeah.
So like, obviously, the first episode covered Parasite, going into the kind of the class divide and the environment message and things like that. So if I can find horrors which have got a lot to say, like I think one day I'll probably want to cover Us. Jordan Peele, big fan. So
and
yeah,
that's got a lot to say. Yeah, I like that point of view. Should probably let you know what I'm doing, considering you never see me anymore on the pages and
mate, where have you been?
People. I hate myself and I don't want to. No, I'm joking. I've been organizing Horrorfest, which obviously is going to take place in October. We've all chucked in horror movies. We're going to sit down with guests. It's going to be 5 episodes, and I think it's about 7 films in each one, where we talk about a horror for every single day of October is essentially it. We did it last year. It was a lot of fun, but it went on a long time, didn't it? So we're going to try and make that a bit more streamlined and better. But hopefully that'll be good.
Growth. We've learned structure.
Yeah, getting ahead.
I have Vietnam flashbacks of last year's Horrorfest.
Oh, that was a tough time.
I mean, I only featured on one last year, and I was on the last one. I did enjoy listening to each one, like on the build up to it. So it was
kudos
worth it.
That's
Going
nice
through
to
them all.
hear.
Yeah.
Because obviously I wasn't involved with the podcast then, so I kind of just joined on as like a guest. But yeah, I'm excited for it. But I'm maybe because I wasn't there for all of it, I've got like almost like beer goggles for it. Like I had like one little taste of it. I was like, that was fun. And then you're like, yeah, do it 5 times. No.
The worst thing was we did those in October. So there was such a rush on editing, getting the guests, and have you watched these 31 horror films, by the way?
As well as doing our normal podcasting as well. It was like our heads were fucked after.
And we did 3 and 4 in the same week, I remember. Like we did 3, had a day off, and then did 4.
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, bearing in mind we've got day jobs as well. Like we're not like lucky enough to do this as a job yet. So,
but this year's going to be better. There's more interesting films. There's not as many like unknowns, so maybe we'll add those. I don't know, but there's going to be enough to talk about, and we're organised. We're recording soon, so
yeah, we're gonna have to pretend it's Halloween in summer.
Yeah, I mean that's the only big thing coming up for me now. Anyway, is Halloween. So
nice. Well, I think with our busy schedules, it's probably not worth kind of putting a time on when the next kind of news update will be. Maybe just when we've got some news to talk about and we've all got time to chat. But I'm definitely going to kind of try and keep on top of finding like topics. Because to be honest, that's probably what rushed us this week. That we were like, oh shit, we've actually got some stuff to talk about. And we were like, let's do it. So yeah, keep an eye on more of these to come because this has been fun.
Yeah, it has. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully